Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Sarah and I am here to help you have more connection and more fulfillment in your relationships. Thank you for clicking on this video. If you clicked on this video, it means that you believe that your relationship is worth investing into. It is worth learning about, your partner is worth learning about how to love them well. And today we're going to be talking about relationship expectations and basically how to have realistic ones. Unfortunately, a lot of conflicts between couples come from the fact that one or both of them have expectations that are simply unrealistic. They have this idea in their mind of what their ideal partner would or should do, and then when their actual partner falls short of that, doesn't measure up to that, then they get frustrated. And then, which we'll talk about in another video, things like the four horsemen start to come up. So when we have these unrealistic expectations, what can happen is basically we start getting very frustrated. We might have contempt for our partners because they're not measuring up to, this standard that we have in our heads, which means they're not as good as we would want them to be. And then we start having contempt towards them or basically disdaining them or looking down on them. This is very, very extremely toxic. And if you are experiencing this in your relationship, it is a huge red flag that you guys need to sit down and discuss something or seek help from a counselor, a therapist. So basically, we want to avoid the four horsemen as much as possible in our relationships. And specifically the one that is tied with expectations is this contempt. So we want to avoid having unrealistic expectations in the first place. So in a lot of my videos, I'm talking to an audience that is already in a committed relationship. Although if you're not yet in a committed relationship, these videos can still be very beneficial to you to know what to look out for or what your goals and your plans are for when you are in a serious committed relationship. In the dating stages or in the getting to know each other stages, things are very different. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to share with you a couple of unrealistic expectations, and then we are going to talk about the more realistic version of these expectations. So first unrealistic expectation is that my partner should meet all my needs. This is simply very unrealistic, okay? Humans are very communal beings and we are designed to live in community. We're designed to have family, friends, mother, father, sister, brother, neighbors, uncles, aunts, cousins. We are meant to be in a community of people. In the modern day, this is a little bit harder. I think us adults at least have to be much more intentional about where we find that source of community and connection. But since we're a little bit more disconnected in the modern day, I think what can happen is we tend to want that our one partner meet every single one of our needs. We want them to be our best friend. We want them to be our girlfriend. We want them to be our lover. We want them to be our provider, our husband. All these roles that one human simply cannot do. One human is probably not going to be interested in every single thing you're interested in and want to talk about. And so it is unrealistic to have that expectation. So the more realistic expectation is that my romantic partner will meet the needs associated with a romantic partner. Simply put that way. It is your responsibility as an adult to find what makes you happy, find those friends, go out, build that community. If you are in a religious organization, that is a great way to have women's groups, men's groups. If you have a neighborhood group, if you have a sport that you're involved in, if you have hobbies, if you have girlfriends, work friends, all these places of community are where we find those people that will meet the other needs that our husband or wife may not be able to meet. Number 2 unrealistic expectation is that you and your partner will always agree. Unfortunately, this is simply very not likely. I mean, I guess there's some couples out there that agree on everything, but most likely you will have some disagreements from time to time. So the more realistic expectation you should have is not that you will always agree, but that when disagreements come up, we are able to sit down, communicate our viewpoints effectively, and empathetically listen to each other, even though we may not agree. So being able to communicate is a very fundamental skill in any relationship, but is much easier said than done. Feel free to check out some of my other communication videos. But this is very important to be able to express yourself and listen in a way where you are not identified with your position. Because this is what happens. You have a mental position, you have a belief, say it's a political belief, and you believe that your way is the only right way and like that your party is the only right party. So you have identified, your part of your identity is that you are a so-and-so, whatever political party. Okay, and if your partner is not, and they disagree with you, you feel personally attacked, although they're not attacking you personally, they're attacking your ideas, or at least they shouldn't be. They might be, in which case they might need some counseling on how to express their ideas properly. But it is this disassociation, this disidentity, separating yourself from your ideas. You're saying that I love my partner despite, or you like, and he is not his beliefs, or she is not her beliefs. I love her. She might have this idea that I disagree with, but I love her, right? And so you're able to like separate that. And same thing when you're expressing your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are not your ideas. You are this person and you have this idea and you might be defending this idea or, stating your arguments for why you believe those things, but you are not that. Having that separation is super duper key for having conversations with your partner that can be very fruitful and very enlightening, and both of you guys can seek truth together. This is a beautiful thing. Do not run away from the difficult conversations of when you guys agree. These are the most transformative conversations, but this is given the fact that you guys are able to communicate properly, and super duper key for that is being able to separate yourself from your idea. So you must be on your own personal growth journey to have this separation, to be able to know that you are not your thoughts, you are not your beliefs, you are not your body, you are this being inside of that. You are this consciousness that is having this human experience. And what a beautiful thing. So you're on this growth journey. And so when you're able to separate yourself, you're like, I have these ideas and I believe these certain things for these reasons. And my partner believes that thing for those reasons. What can happen is you're able to present these reasons to each other in a way that is not attacking, that is not belittling, that is not criticizing or putting people down or name calling or any of that childish stuff. Okay, we're adults here, we're grown past that. You present your ideas, and what happens is somebody might realize that they're wrong. And so then you guys get closer together. You guys grow closer together. You guys become more one, more unified, because you are not clinging to this idea as your identity. Unrealistic expectation number 3, my partner should know how I'm feeling. Ooh boy, this is a huge one. We want to avoid at all costs these assumptions like these in our relationships. You're assuming that your partner is a mind reader and knows how you're feeling, or you're assuming that your partner is paying attention to how you're slamming the cupboards and slamming the doors. And actually, I guess that's demanding attention at that point. And you're assuming that they know what they did wrong that made you mad. And simply, those assumptions are not avoid those kinds of assumptions at all costs. You can't assume that. They have no way of knowing. They don't assume that your partner knows anything unless you told them. That's the rule. The only thing that they know about you and how you're feeling is what you tell them. So tell them, communicate your feelings. Again, check out those videos on how to communicate nonviolently, on how to listen well if you're on the receiving end of that. So avoid assumptions and simply tell your partner. If you're feeling some kind of way about something, just tell them. That's the realistic expectation. The realistic expectation is my partner doesn't know anything about me and how I'm feeling unless I tell them. Okay, now there are some things like they might be able to pick up on, and there are certain social clues and cues that for the most part, most of us pick up on. But I think this is a frustration more common for women than men, because we women are more intuitive. We are more emotionally intelligent for the most part. We are able to pick up on how he's feeling, for example, way easier than he's able to pick up on how we're feeling. And then also our feelings are a lot more complicated than the men's feelings for the most part. Again, I'm speaking in generalizations. Of course, every situation is different, but generally speaking, these things tend to be so. And so I'm speaking to the women. You can't assume that he's not an evil man. He's not ignoring you. He's not, it's not that he doesn't care about you. Most likely he just doesn't know. And you're assuming that he knows. You're assuming that he's as good at emotional reading as you are, and he probably isn't. So you gotta tell him. You gotta tell him, ladies. Unrealistic expectation number 4. My partner will change. He's like this now, but he'll change in the future. She's like this now, but she'll change in the future. Oh, this is a dangerous, slippery slope. Now, the truth of the matter is people do change. They do change over time. We're always growing and evolving. We're always being exposed to new ideas. We're learning things. We're taking things in. We have new role models and new examples and different stages in life, etc. We do change. We grow and evolve. However, you shouldn't expect this. Especially, you shouldn't expect your partner to change in the way you want them to change. So a better attitude to have is that I accept my partner completely as they are. I accept them. I have chosen to be with them for XYZ reasons, and I will accept everything else that they bring to the table as well, wholly and completely. With non-judgment, complete acceptance. Check out my other video for more about that. So when you enter into this relationship, when you have decided to commit to each other, you should know what you're signing up for. You know the good things that you want in them, and you know the things that maybe aren't your ideal, but you have decided that this person is worth everything that they bring to the table, the good things and the bad things. And you're not expecting them to change those bad things. But the magic is that when you approach your relationship with this wholehearted acceptance, with this non-judgment, a lot of times those negative things do change. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. But I think it's when people feel safe and secure in a relationship, all of a sudden they want to be the best kind of man that they can be. And they're going to want to change those bad habits. All of a sudden, that woman feels safe and secure in that relationship that she's never felt in any other relationship. And bam, she wants to be the best woman. She wants to love you passionately and amazingly. I don't know why this happens, but I've seen this time and time again. When you have this radical acceptance and love unconditionally, then all of a sudden those bad habits that you didn't like start to fall away anyway. But don't expect that, okay? You're accepting them wholeheartedly. And last unrealistic expectation is that we should spend all of our time together. Unfortunately, this isn't the case, and I haven't found this in my own practice to be very much of a real problem anyways. I think couples tend to have healthy boundaries, and like we know that we need alone time. Like our guys know that we need guy time, and girls know we need girl time, and you have individual hobbies and activities that you do on your own time, and that this is healthy. A lot of the times you are doing life together, day in, day out. You're doing the errands together, the chores, you're taking care of the kids together, you're doing these things together. It is important to have that separate time. However, when this does start to creep up, like a desire to want to spend all of our free time together, it's probably because someone's need for quality time is not being met. Okay, so it's not that they want all of your free time to be together, it's that they want more than what they're having, or that the time that you are spending together doesn't feel very quality, doesn't feel very connecting. And if that's the case, there are things you can do to address that. But in general, the realistic expectation is that we will have quality time together and we will have quality time apart. Thank you guys for joining me for this video. Just a quick rundown. It is super duper important to have realistic expectations in your relationship. Our unrealistic expectations can sometimes blind us to the beautiful person that actually is committed and in love with us. So I don't want that to happen. Thank you guys. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe if you want more of this kind of content, and I will see you in the next one.